This video is in response to Friendly Honey Badger's video, and I saw Raw Cognizant's video first, and so I didn't know what he was talking about. Even though I do follow Friendly Honey Badger, I didn't see that video because I've been kind of working on some other things the past few days. And so I went back and I watched the follow-up video of hers first, and then I watched her main one, but I couldn't get through the main one, so I didn't even watch the main one. But the follow-up one, she says everything in it. So this is my response to you, FHB, okay? To question anomalies. Since when is questioning something dangerous? To gaslight people and to say that questioning something is dangerous, that is a cult. If you're not allowed to question things because of a feeling that you get, which is usually our intuition warning us that there's something off, that we're in danger, and if we don't follow that, then that is a cult. That is the definition of a cult. So you saying that we're not accepting the results, it's not that we're not accepting it, it's that we have questions. And we're questioning it because it doesn't make sense. Either side, both sides, our side reacted oddly. It didn't make sense how they reacted. I have been around a lot of elections and I have never seen them call it this fast and not question or have any recounts anywhere. I have never seen that for either side, ever. There was something off from the very beginning, which is why I switched my entire platform here to talk about it, that, we were talking about what we felt and what we observed, and there was just something off. And a lot of times that's where the truth starts to come through to us, is through that cognitive dissonance, that feeling that something is off. And yeah, it starts as a feeling. And you as a female creator discounting intuition is alarming to me. And saying that, to go from saying like, I don't agree with them, to don't listen to them, to your followers saying, don't listen to them, they're grifters, okay? And that we don't care about our followers and that all we care about is clicks. I absolutely care about my followers, which is why I've been going live. I went live almost every night, all during that whole time, because I wanted to be there for people who were very scared, who felt very confused, who felt like what was happening in front of their eyes was very different than what was happening inside of them and what they sensed and what they felt. And that's a very powerful reality that it's in us. We all have that. And so anyways, I have a lot of strong feelings about the entire approach and all of that. And I actually wrote notes because my Aries moon wants to fly off and I want to just stay organized. So hold on. So if we say we felt like she won, we felt it in our bodies, and you say, well, she didn't, that's a fact. How do you know that? Just like we don't know what we're saying is a fact, and we know that. We know it in ourselves to be true, but that's why we're trying to look into these anomalies, do these court cases, like let's look into it the legal way. But how do you know she didn't? I mean, isn't that just as a wild of a thing to say as it is to say she did? I mean, you don't have any proof that she didn't, right? You said, so what if it's in one area, talking about Rockland County? Well, that's a big deal if it is in one area, because if it's in one area, it's probably in other areas. And we should look into that, because if our votes don't matter, that's serious. We need to know that sooner rather than later. And also, there's no mechanism to overturn this, is what you said. There probably is, and if there isn't, we the people will make one. We're in unprecedented times. And I also want to tell you, one of the last videos I saw of yours, which was maybe like a week ago, you said your response was to somebody cutting something down about an approach in how to handle what's going on. And your whole video was about, don't mock people who are trying, just trying. We're all just throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. I'm not talking about the contest thing right now. I'm talking about just any other thing that we're doing. You said we're in unprecedented territory. We're all just doing what we can and hoping that something kind of breaks through. What harm is it to have people looking into something that statisticians say are anomalies? What harm is it to look into that? So to be so threatened by people looking into it is a red flag, is a major red flag that you would even tell people like just such extreme things like that we're grifters and that we don't care. That's a pretty strong stance by someone just looking into something. I mean, isn't that just under the same umbrella of we're all just doing what we see from where we are? You also said it would be a giant mess if it were true, as if it's not already a giant mess. You said, and then there would be a full-blown civil war. Well, maybe there needs to be. Then you said, if we really think this is true, why the F aren't we in Washington, D.C. like they did? Well, for one, we're not in a cult. That's the difference. Two, a cult leader didn't tell us that there's a possible stolen contest going on here over and over and over again, you know, trying to convince the followers. Nobody in leadership told us this. That is even why it should be even more respected. We, the people, have woken the F up finally. And that's been a huge part of my work on my platform, is waking people up to their own intuition, waking people up to their own voice. We, the blue, I call us blueberries, but anybody kind of like us, we're too complacent. We're too, like, we don't like conflict. That's just a general thing about us. We don't like conflict. We'll just be like, whatever, live and let live. But that's also been a bad thing for us because of that, we've gotten in situations like this where bullies can push right past us. And so we've had to really find our voices. And that's what we're all working on. And we have. And we've all realized we've all been lazy when it comes to our government. We've all taken a back seat and just wanted KH to win because she was so great. And I've been saying we need to become whatever we saw in KH, we need to become that. And then when we fully become that, we'll be worthy of a leader like that. But we have to become that first. Also, we respect our institutions, which we're starting to learn now. We don't need to be doing that as much. We need to fight for it a little bit more and clarify what's really going on. We respect our laws, which we also need to work on and clarify. And yeah, so that's 5. Also, I want to say there's a phenomenon called the 4 a.m. Club. And, you know, you don't have to have been in the 4 a.m. Club to understand this, but this was an international thing. People from other countries experience this as well. It's a spiritual phenomenon where people all had intense spiritual experiences on and around that day in November. And people who have never been spiritual before had an experience, and people who were spiritual before, like myself, had an experience that cannot be described. It's some weird knowing. And the reason why it's called the 4 a.m. Club is because a lot of people woke up around 4 a.m. in the morning the day after and had a very strong feeling, very strong. And it was powerful. And so that's what brought a lot of us together in the first place, is what is this? What is this phenomenon? And at the very least, it's a phenomenon. It's something to be looked at. But at most, it's like maybe there's a purpose here. You also said just because it doesn't align with what you feel doesn't make it true. Right. That's why we're wanting to investigate it. That's why we don't go to DC. That's why we don't crash through glass and smear feces on the walls. Well, there's lots of reasons why we don't do that. But we believe in, like, we will get there legally. We will find it somehow. And so it's taken this long to get all of the results from the machines, and all the statisticians have gone through it. And then you have to sift through, get lawyers. And that's why it's taken this long. So yeah, that's what's going on there. It's more than just what we feel. What we feel is something has happened. Something's wrong here. Now we're investigating it. And you're saying, don't investigate it. If you're investigating this, you are a grifter. You don't care about people. You just want to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. We are trying to figure out if there's an actual bullet in there. Because if there's a bullet in there, we have to do surgery and get that bullet out. Because we will be festering in infection and probably die if we don't get that bullet out. There's a big difference. We're not saying we just don't agree with this. It's not true. We're saying we want it investigated because we have a very strong feeling. I get very animated in it. My last video, I was like, you know, going all crazy with it. I get animated about it, but that's because I know my intuition and I know that something did happen. And I actually don't even really trust the blue team right now because I think the entire thing is compromised right now. The more I learn about what's happening in the Middle East, and with Epstein, the more I'm realizing our entire government is compromised. So it's up to we, the people, to follow that feeling and to investigate and to find out what really happened. Because we have a midterm coming up. We need to make sure that our votes are going to count. I almost think that what happened last time with what happened in DC, it was almost like the whole thing was orchestrated so that if we even said anything, we would be accused of being like them. It almost feels like that, which is actually ludicrous if you think about it. So to question results that actually statisticians say are actually questionable. There's weird things happening that couldn't normally happen. There were a lot of weird things that happened around that day in November with the actual machines, with software, with our own person in charge admitting things. I mean, there's been a lot of things. So to say that to question things makes us part of a cult and part of grifters and all that kind of stuff is really concerning. And it's also the reason why a lot of people don't speak up. And I bet you a lot more people feel this way than what you even see online, because they don't want to say anything because they don't want to look crazy. They don't want to look like what you just said. You just scolded a bunch of us publicly, and you basically sent out a message to all your followers. Don't you think that either? You know? And you're starting to sound authoritarian, or like an authoritarian. You're starting to sound like an authoritarian. And actually, I've had moments where I thought you sounded like that before, and I brushed it off. I kept thinking, no, I don't know. Maybe not. But this video, oh my gosh. Do you not see? You cannot tell your followers not to follow somebody else and that they're grifters without sounding like the one who's telling everybody not to watch the news, not to listen to anybody else. That's authoritarianism 101. That's like 101. You just became that. The thing you try to educate your viewers about, you are that now. You've become that. Or maybe you always have been that. Because you're saying that by questioning things, we're offering a Band-Aid or a false like happiness to people. What are you doing? Your whole premise of your account is to be the answer. You are coming to be like, I will tell you how to handle this. This is a cult, and I will tell you how to deal with them. And that's why I followed you, because I thought, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, this is a cult, and I know nothing about cults, so let me follow you. Let me learn more. You know, and I follow Hawk. I follow the people you listed. All those people I follow. And it's like, I don't understand how you could, or any person could be in, especially when you're talking about cults, to say something like that. Like, do you not see or hear how that sounds exactly like the very thing you're trying to tell your viewers not to listen to? Do you know what I tell my viewers? Follow their intuition. Follow their intuition. Strengthen their relationship with their intuition. Whatever it's about, whether it's about politics or about what to do with their lives or whether or not to use AI or whatever it is, I always say, follow your intuition. That's the most important thing, especially as we get into times like now where there's so many things that can be, created with AI. So many things that are going to trick our eyes and make us think certain things. So at the very least, you should have maybe told your followers, if you get a weird feeling about that, then maybe that's not the road for you or whatever. This is what I think of it. But to just straight up tell your people, like, I'm the holder of reality, and I'm going to tell you, not only did she not win, those people are grifters and you shouldn't follow them. That's irresponsible. Not just for me. I don't really care because I know what I am, but that's irresponsible to your followers. Talk about not caring about people. Don't you trust your followers that they're intelligent enough to know the difference between following an intuition or not, or investigating something that there is proof of enough to have a court case? And then how serious that is if there is, in fact, these anomalies and it starts in one county and it goes to a whole bunch of others, which is already starting to happen. Do you know what that means? Do you know how serious that is? This isn't just like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. You mixed a lot of things in with your video, because you'd say one thing, you'd say another thing, you'd say another thing. And I wrote it all down and I've just gone off script. You went all over the place because basically it's just a confusion thing, just saying, don't listen to them, listen to me. I could just sum up your video. Don't listen to them, listen to me. And that's the exact problem we have right now with our leader. And that's not good, because, to investigate this is very important, because if our votes don't matter, if our votes do not matter, there's a very serious situation going on right now. I personally believe we are there. And I also personally believe that our government, our federal government, is compromised right now, both sides. And that's why they didn't contest this election. and it's serious. And so we're both fighting for the same thing, I think. But I'm saying include everything that you can that involves anything. And I don't know who the other people are that say don't do that. I think it's really irresponsible. Our vote is more important than any other issue we have. There's no other issue we have that's more important than if our votes are actually not counting anymore. Can you think of anything more important than that? I can't.